If you didn't know, the concept of pakikisama is an essential factor in helping one cope during the death of a loved one. What is it, you may ask? Well, it is an aspect that focuses on when an individual is trying to find the motivation to grieve. This is a stage where they deny or bargain. This therefore causes them to begin slowly accepting the challenges they are facing. It is natural for families to gather during wakes of a loved one. During these, you usually experience pakikiramay and damayan.
Cousins ko. Very close sila sa siblings ko. Nandun lang din sila. So, pag puyat ako, puyat din sila lahat.
Here, one of our participants also said that her friends supported her. They would play Genshin Impact, or they would meet up around Iloilo when there is not a lockdown. All of these fit with the adjusted settings of the pandemic. These people have someone to be there for them, to talk about the reasons they have mentally created. This can be towards an intimate family member and beyond, which can include friends, extended relatives, and acquaintances. Here, a counselor has explained that there are myths that people see towards grief. Namely, I can handle this on my own. I don't need to talk about it. No one can really tell how upset I am. My pain, anger, and fear will just go away. If I don't think about it, nothing happened or nothing will happen. Our psychiatrist, however, explains that during the depression part, we would yearn and miss the person badly. After some time, they would start to come to terms with reality, also known as acceptance. The following leads to reminisced connections, where they have personal cherished moments, or where they try to discover meanings about their loved ones. This involves discussing the memories of their loved ones when they were living versus when they passed, in which the participants address their loved ones differently.
She would always talk to me and my little brother about how much niya kaming namimiss.
Kasi diba 2020 siya namatay. Then nung 2021, nung January, parang I kept finding like the little notes that my lola would give me every sa birthday ko. Kasi she consistently like gave me notes from 2017 hanggang 2020.
Makulit siya sa dad ko eh. Sobrang makulit sa dad ko. Kasi close siya sa friends ko. Kasi kaugali ko siya eh. Siya talaga nag-asikaso sa akin. Which is grateful naman ako kasi lumambot naman yung heart ko kahit paano nun. Kasi syempre naalagaan niya.
Expert 1 explains that the reason why people are in denial is mainly because people will rely on their nature, the flight or fight response. The expert explains that in our modern world, we often do the avoidance or the flight response. So denial is the initial reaction because we are there for instinctive avoidance of what is actually happening, which is geared in our minds. There is also emotional validity. This is where the experience and progression of the grieving phases identify feelings that one can neither fully comprehend or justify. In some cases, people may bounce back and forth between stages in situations that create emotional responses. This is the point when the motivation to create action, such as to grieve, starts to manifest when they are able to feel the different emotions or are able to realize how much connection they had with their loved one.
The two stages, when anger and bargaining, no, I think before I talk about like what specifically goes through their mind, I think it's important to note that the defense that they activate there is rationalization.
Rationalization can be seen with two of the participants and in different ways. The first one talks about how her feelings were in disarray. As such, she could not properly express it and kept it to herself. The second one was vocal, cursing at everyone and crying. According to our psychiatrist, anger usually is the start of grief. It consists of blaming things outwards. After this, blaming becomes inward, which is self-blame, and guilt is predominant here. Lastly, rationalization and concluding the thoughts are usually the result. However, these thoughts go often into cycles, kind of like bargaining anger. It is a tough emotional, physical, and mental journey indeed when a loved one passes away. But there is still more that needs to be heard about Filipino resilience.
Okay, so when we talk about resilient people, they are also able to employ healthy defense mechanisms such as humor, altruism, being able to take into a bigger perspective, there's a greater scheme of things. And having those mindset enables us to actually move and not get stuck on just the loss. So that's how